This is Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Like start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol Halon La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Bakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. Akim and the Aqua that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shabab on the one back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, right? Burn as an oven, right? I'm going to play a video, all right, and then get some scriptures and close out, all right? Um, Zechariah, once again, 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Right? And that's talking about the nuclear missiles, the thermonuclear missiles hitting America. And this is exactly what's going to happen to the people that are here that walked in great pride in those last days. Right? They're pretty much going to consume away, right? While they're standing up on their feet. You know, that good movie to see is Independence Day. I mean, not Independence Day, Salakia. Terminator 2. Okay, Judgment Day. Right, when she's hanging on the fence, and then all of a sudden the nuke hits, and then while she's holding on to that fence, you see her whole top her whole body deteriorate, right, and literally just disintegrate, right, and that's exactly what's going to happen to these people in these last days. You see, the only thing is that it's not going to be a quick death. It's not going to be something that happens and you just literally just disintegrate like that. The Lord is actually going to burn you from the inside out, and He's going to slow burn you, right? You're going to feel it for the pride that you walked in those last days. Okay, so now let me grab this video. Second. It's like you gotta get it.
Developing in the last 24 hours regarding concerns of World War III, and we're hearing an emergency draft has been initiated. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. I'm going to be covering all the details of what has been going on here. World War III fears spark emergency conscription for all 18-year-olds in Germany. Here's another one coming out. Report for duty. Every 18-year-old man called up for military tests and emergency conscription measure announced in Germany amid World War III fears. It comes as major European players also ramp up conscription efforts, and everybody is asking the question, is there going to be a draft in the United States? If World War III erupts, these are the first U.S. citizens who would get drafted and go to battle. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think that we're going to need a draft here in the United States? We're hearing that this is being initiated right now in an emergency effort to keep up with potential World War III coming, is what we're hearing. And take a look at this. Putin's Russia is preparing for a big war soon. Ukraine warns. And what they're saying is, let me know your thoughts on this. They are saying that they believe that Putin is ready to escalate to a major war, but he is waiting essentially for Donald Trump to get out of office, and that in the year 2029 or the year 2030, there is going to be a major war, and that our adversaries will go all out. Do you think that's a possibility? Let me know your thoughts. But we'd even heard this morning coming up from the FBI for quite some time with China and Taiwan. China, they said, is prepared to attack Taiwan by the year 2027, which now is only about 1 year away. And they're saying, but the Trump effect might hold them off. Let's take a look at some more headlines here. As you can see, in addition to those warnings coming out, the Putin ally, he has issued just in the last 24 hours a nuclear warning to the United States. Yet again, getting all these nuclear warnings coming out from Russia. They're posturing against the United States. They say Russia will respond if the United States begins nuclear testing. In addition to that, speaking of China, we are hearing in the last 24 hours, China threatens Japan with a military attack as World War III fears spiral out of control. Left and right, we are hearing that there are threats and controversy around the world. World on the brink after China threatens to attack Japan as World War III fears explode. Some more tensions are rising. And take a look at this. It's being confirmed. China's Area 51 satellite images spark World War III fears as China is brewing and it is not synced out. And also take a look. Russia vows to fully act as the U.S. sends warships to Venezuela, sparking new World War III fears. So many players getting involved here, left and right. We are hearing that things are escalating significantly. Now, let me know your thoughts. Are we going to be entering into World War III here very soon?
And the question and the answer to that is absolutely. World War III is imminent, right? Because it's Bible prophecy that we will go into World War III. Okay, as the scriptures tell you in Revelations, the 14th chapter. All right, let's grab that real quick. All right, this is Salaki. I'm in the 11th chapter. This is it says the second woe is past. All right. Salaki. Hold on. Let me set something up real quick. So this is 14, and it says the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe comes quickly. Okay, so we already had two woes pass. Right, the First World War already passed in 1914. The Second World War passed in 1942. Okay, and it says that the third woe cometh quickly. All right, and look how far apart. You're talking about 70 years. Around there, and we're already into the Third World War. Right, and he was going into all these different types of wars that are being spoken of. All right, in Matthew 24, it tells you what. Okay, it says number 6, verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right. So why is the Lord saying this? Because the Lord works in chronological order at the end of the day. You see. So all these different rumors of war, all right, doesn't necessarily mean yet that the actual Third World War is going to happen right then and there, right? In order for that Third World War to happen, that MOTB has to be made mandatory. You see, once that is put into play and made mandatory, the RFID, then eventually World War III will come by the way of basically Putin, all right, or whoever's in presidency at that time of Russia. Okay, so Ezekiel 38 speaks about how Russia, all right, Gog and Magog will basically come and catch an evil thought, all right, and then it will go up to the walls of the unwalled villages, to the place of unwalled villages, which is America. Okay, so again it says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, again, it has to be in chronological order, the way the Lord has things set up through prophecy. Okay, that MOTB has to be made mandatory first, because scriptures tell you in Job, in the fullness of the sufficiency, that's when the Lord is going to lift up that standard upon them. You see, and lifting up that standard is going to be when Yahweh Shai cracks them clouds. You see, cracking them clouds, and then in the middle of World War III, with all these different nations, all right, they're going to turn to actually fight against Yahweh Shai. know, what the scriptures speak about the war in heaven, right? Michael and his angels and Satan and his angels, basically. And that Satan and his angels represent the military power going against Yahweh Shai, which they prevailed not. You see, they're not going to prevail, right? Yahweh Shai is going to destroy this place in 1 hour with 200 million missiles, okay? And along with the concentrated laser beams that come out of these chariots, okay? So hold on real quick. Turn off this air. I don't know if you guys can hear me. All right. So let's grab this. Okay. He's speaking about the draft. Let's grab Second Ezra's. This is Second Ezra's 16 and 33. And it says, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And why? Because all of these men are going to be drafted to the war, and a lot of women also too. You see, they already put 18 to 26 here in America being drafted to the war. All right, men and women. Okay, so the same thing is going to play out everywhere pretty much. And he was speaking about Germany. All right, which I got a precept for that too. All right, it says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Okay, so in the wars, the bridegrooms are going to be destroyed because a lot of these men are going to be drafted. All right, and they're going to go out there to war, and they're going to die off in the wars. You see, so let's grab this real quick. Obadiah. All right, Obadiah 1 and all right, because he was mentioned in Germany. Okay, and let's take it from 8. Actually, let's take it from 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. All right. And this is speaking about America's allies. All right. Basically turning against them. All right. As the scriptures say, the beast shall hate the whore. Okay. So, every single one of these allies of America, eventually they're going to turn against them. And this is why the Lord is setting them all up around the world. All right. Roundabout, as the scriptures say. Let me just jump into that real quick. This is Joel. All right. Joel 2 and 1. I mean, Salaki. Actually, I do want 2 though also. This is 3 and 1, and it says, for behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Okay, so the Lord, all right, is bringing every single one of them, all right, to the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right, the ones that are in South America, you got them going to war, America going to war with Jerusalem. All right, Russia's going to be a guard onto them, as they have said. Okay, so they're going to also have nuclear power. Also, you see, let the weak say that I am strong. All right, when you go down to verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles and prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. You see, so, beating your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears is representation of all these different military weapons, all these different militaries that are coming up against America. You see, it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. You see, every single one of these different nations are all surrounding America little by little. Okay. It says, thither cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Okay. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come come get you down, for the press is full and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. You see? So the Lord is pretty much fed up with this place, man. You see? This is Joel 2:1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. All right. And who's the one that's blowing the trumpet? All right. The prophets. Okay. It says, let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Okay. In judgment day, Armageddon, you see, is coming. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick clouds, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and strong, there has not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them. You see, so this is speaking about the Lord bringing these different missiles to destroy this place, man. Okay. The appearance of them, this is speaking of the missiles, the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses and as horsemen. So shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains, they shall leap like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Okay. Before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. Yeah, because when they see these missiles up in the air, all right, all of a sudden you're going to try to see people holding hands. You see, people's faces going to turn. It's just going to have that look in their face like they can't believe what's happening before their eyes. You see, it says they shall run like mighty men. This is speaking of the missiles. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. You see, speaking of the missiles hitting exactly where they need to hit. Okay, the Lord is going to have the spirit inside of each of one of those missiles, which is going to be 200 million missiles. Okay, according to what? Revelations, the 9th chapter. Okay, let's grab that real quick. This is Revelations 9, and I'll get straight to the point. And it says, give me 1 second. 16, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. Okay, meaning 200 million missiles. And I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. You see, by these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. All right. And that's speaking about how when they come out of the missile silo, all right, you see how the missiles go up in the air and they kind of like swivel, you see, and then they leave a trail of smoke. That's what it represented when it said that they were like unto serpents, their tails, you see. It says, and the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. And that's speaking about the Illuminati that's going to be in these bunkers, you see, being in these water stations, being in outer space in their space stations, you see. They're the only ones that are going to survive, only because they're going to be the first fruits of slavery, you see. So the Lord is going to allow them to basically escape that moment, okay? But they're not going to escape totally, because the men of the Lord are going to be turned into fishers. I mean, that are fishers are going to be turned into hunters, you see, and we're going to snatch them out, okay? And they're going to be the first ones that go right into slavery, man. First fruits of slavery. They're going to have to pick up the earth, clean up the earth, clean up all the dead bodies. Okay, so let's go back to let me grab this real quick. This is Malachi Okay. Malachi 4:1, and it says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yeah, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Okay, so that day is coming where, you know, the fire that the Lord is going to put upon Babylon the Great and the rest of the, you know, the rest of the world, all right, is going to be well needed, because this place is so wicked. All right, it's full of so much pride, and the Lord, you know, requires a sacrifice. You see, so Babylon the Great is going to be considered a great big altar. All right, and the Lord's greatest cleansing agent is fire. So what he's going to do is make Babylon the Great that altar, that great big altar, and the thermonuclear missiles is going to be the fire that's added on to that altar to cleanse this land. You see, that's why it tells you that in 2 Peter's the 3rd chapter. All right, let's grab that. 2 Peter's the 3rd chapter. And let's get straight to the point. All right. It says, this is 9. It says, the Lord, matter of fact, let's grab this first. This is Isaiah 5:9. All right. I mean, Salakia 9. 9:5, I believe it is. Yeah, 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, all right, and garments rolled in blood. Because in the ancient time, all right, people will have, you know, they will have their war apparel on, you know, they will have their boots, their armors, their clinging of swords, you see, and everything was about just, you know, pretty much having swords and stabbing each other, man. You see, that's why they had blood all over their garments. Okay. But see, today's sword is no more actual sword. You see, today's sword is done with military weapons, okay, guns, and most of all being done with thermonuclear missiles, because every country in the world has thermonuclear power. You see, it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. You see, so everything in the past was done through what? Through actual noise confusion, man, the clinging of swords. All right. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, the Lord said. Okay. So now let's go back to Slakia. 2 Peter's. All right. 3, and let's take it from 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last day scoffers walking after their own lust. And we see scoffers every day. All right. And they come out always thinking that this is not true, that the Lord is not going to destroy this place. You know, they'll say that we've been saying this for years. Okay. But hey, it's playing out right in front of your faces right now. It says, saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Yahweh the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. See, so back in the day, the Lord destroyed everything, all right, and only saved 8 people, all right, Noah and his 3 sons, and then all their wives, you see. So back then, when the Lord, you know, said that he was going to destroy the place, which he did, all right, he destroyed it by actual water flow, you see, with actual water, all right. But it says here, but the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, the same exact word that was being spoken in the time of Noah, all right, because Noah prophesied for 160 years, you see. So the same exact word that was being preached in that time, all right, is being preached today. You see, that's how you know there's reincarnation, because those same spirits are here today, okay. It says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Okay. Jumping down to 9, it says, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. All what? All Israelites. All right. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. not the rest of the world, okay, not the rest of these different nations, okay. The word is only for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right, written by Israelites to the Israelites for the Israelites, okay. The Lord said that he's coming for his people to redeem his people from their sins, right? But the day of the Lord Yahushua will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You see, everything is going to be resetted. Okay. This is what it means that the Lord is going to take America, Babylon the Great, and make it an altar and put a cleansing agent in it, which is going to be the thermonuclear missiles. And what it's going to do is going to cleanse the whole entire earth by resetting everything that we have, just like it was in the beginning. You see, in the beginning, it was what? Let's grab that. All right. Genesis 1 and 2. It says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the spirit of Yahweh moved upon the face of the waters. You see, so everything, when it speaks about that, speaking about how everything was just elements and it wasn't in actual order yet. You see, so this time when the Lord destroys this place with actual fire, okay, it's going to be just like in the time of the beginning, okay, basically being reset it with all the elements, all right, being all over the place, and then eventually they'll be put back into order to do what they were supposed to do. You see, so continuing back in 2 Peter's 3 and 9, it says, the Lord Yahushua is not slack concerning his promise. All right, Salakia 10. But the day of the Lord Yahushua will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. And see, this is why you have to have your house in order, man. You should be in the spirit of putting your house in order, as the Lord said, because that day is going to come like a thief in the night. Okay, let's grab that real quick in Matthew 42. Salakia. Matthew 24 and 42. And it says, actually, let me go up 37. It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the son of man, the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And that's what you see today. You see, these people are in the spirit of mirth. You know, they living it up. Okay, people are marrying, which sex is marriage. All right, so people are just, you know, popping babies left and right. Okay, and giving into marriage, you know, in a whole nother way of actually, you know, going into these different churches and marrying and making covenants with the heathens right in front of the Lord's face, man. You see, so we're in that same exact time frame. All right, in a different era, though. Okay, showing you that reincarnation exists. It says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay, jump down to 42. It says, watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord does come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. Okay, so this is the Lord explaining to you that if you don't get your house in order, you're going to be caught by surprise when them thermonuclear missiles come. All right, and also that snare. You see, because as soon as they make that mandatory, that snare, which is that RFID, is only going to be a little bit of time before World War III actually breaks out. You see, and it's all going to be coming through the way of basically Putin. Okay, which I'll get to that in a second. Let me just finish 2 Peter's 3 and let's grab it at 10 again. But the day of the Lord Yahushua will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. All right, and that great noise is going into them thermonuclear missiles. All right, pertaining to what? Isaiah the 54th chapter. Okay, let's grab that. Isaiah 54 and where's it at? Give me 1 second. 16, and it says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. All right. And the smith, all right, was considered as a blacksmith back in the ancient world when it was creating what? He was creating the weapons, he was creating the swords. You see, but the blacksmith in these days, all right, is the modern day scientists that are creating all these atomic bombs, all these different type of hypersonic missiles. You see, all these different type of missiles that you hear about on a daily basis, man, that all these different countries have. You see, so those are the modern day smiths. It says, and that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. You see, so the Lord created these sciences just so they can use their intelligence, which is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai's intelligence, to create these thermonuclear missiles, man, just so they can destroy themselves at the end. You see how cruel it is to fall into the hands of the living power on the left hand side. You see, this is why you have to stay prayed up, man, and watch and pray that you are worthy to escape all these things, man, because the Lord not playing. The Lord is literally about to annihilate this place from New York City to California, man. All right, never to be inhabited again, just like in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, pertaining to what? Jude. Let's grab that real quick. Jude and 1. This is Jude 1:7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. You see, so Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. Why? Because you had these people that were committing, wicked fornications, man. Sleeping with relatives, man. There was out there, bestiality. Okay, they were out there. They were so wicked. They was trying to sleep with angels, man. You see, these people was bugged out in those times. You had men sleeping with men, women sleeping with women. Okay, so we're in the same exact type of scenario today. All right, that's why the Lord said you are spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Okay, so the Lord to this day has made Sodom and Gomorrah, where it's located, an example for us not to live in those manners. You see, and to this day, you can't live where Sodom and Gomorrah is because the sulfur that's in that area won't allow anything to grow. You see, so the Lord is telling you that was set forth as an example not to live by those ways, and America's living those exact ways today. So it has to be put down by what? Through the thermonuclear fire, man. All right. So let me go back to Isaiah 54:16. It says, but behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. And what do you do when you see a bunch of charcoal or coal itself? If you blow, you see that it actually gets brighter and brighter and brighter. You see, so imagine the Lord, all right, is just blowing these coals to the point where they get so heated and so hot. All right, that's what it's going to be like in that day, that is going to burn like an oven. You see, it's a metaphor that the Lord is using. It says, and bringeth forth an instrument for his work. Okay, for the Lord's work. You see, the Lord said, I have created the wicked even for the day. Let me grab that real quick. I have created the wicked even for the day of judgment, KJV. This is 16:4, and it says, the Lord Yahweh has made all things for himself. Okay, so like it's loaded. It says, the Lord Yahweh has made all things for himself, yet even the wicked for the day of evil. You see, for the time of Jacob's trouble. You see, for the hour of temptation, and ultimately for what? The day of these thermonuclear missiles, man. Okay, so let's go back to 54:16, and that bringeth forth an instrument in Isaiah for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. Okay, Beth, can you get me a water, please? Mm-hmm. All right, it says, I have created an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise up against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and the righteousness is of me, save the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You see, so no weapon that's ever formed, all right, is going to be able to prosper against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Why? Because he's the one that created these weapons. You see, now here it is that the Lord is going to use those weapons that you created, Esau, all right, just for us to see you be destroyed in those weapons, man. Okay. So let's go back to 2 Peter's, all right, 3 and 10. It says, but the day of the Lord Yahweh Shai will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? You see, so seeing that the things that are happening around the world, man, what are you supposed to be doing right now? See, you're supposed to be getting right with the Lord, man. You're supposed to be in all holy conversation, you see, speaking on these things that are about to happen, all right? Constantly repenting and asking the Lord to have mercy upon you and your household, all right? Watching everything that's happening in front of your eyes, all right? Well, men should be as a watchman, all right? And you women should be watching the watchmen, okay? And constantly watching in what watch the thief will come. You see, no man knows the hour when the Lord is coming, but if you're constantly watching out your window, all right, a thief is going to come without you knowing. But if you're creeping and you're watching out your window, you're going to see a thief coming, even though you don't know exactly what time he's coming. You see, so it's almost like you're paranoid, watching out of your window, constantly looking to see and wait for this thief, because the Lord already told you that a thief is going to come, like it's going to come in the night. You see, so the best thing for you to do is constantly watch. You see, watch the signs that are being given to you, as the Lord said in the second Ezra, the 9th chapter, right? To measure the time diligently in itself. And when all these signs come to pass, then you shall know that the Lord is visiting. So we know the Lord is visiting right now as we speak, because judgment is coming out every single day. You know, earthquakes is coming out of diverse places. You see, you got uproars of the people on a daily basis. You know, you got second Ezra, the 15th chapter that's being played out as we speak right now. All right. People standing up against their governments. All right. Men desiring to flee to another city, and they shall not be able, with all these cancellations of different planes. You see, everything is locking down, man. It's going right back down to what it was in 2020, man, when it was locked down. You see, they playing with your mind, thinking that you're going to get your benefits back. You know, they give you half of your benefits or a quarter of your benefits. All right. But they're going to take them right back away from you, man, because they have an agenda, man. Their job is to play with the people's minds. Their job is to put the biggest weapon of mass destruction in your mind, which is what? Fear. You see, but the Lord didn't give us the spirit of fear, man. He gave us the spirit of a sound mind, okay, and love, all right? And that love is to follow the ways of the Lord, all right? For this is the love of the Lord, that you keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, okay? The whole conclusion of man is what? To fear Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and keep his holy commandments to the best of your ability, rehearsing the righteous acts, okay? So the manner that we should be in is an all holy conversation and godliness. All right. To be godliness is to be separate, to be holy. All right. To stay away from the unclean things, to refrain from your appetites. All right. And occupy yourself until Yahweh Shai comes. And how we occupy ourselves with these scriptures. The prudent man foreseeth the evil, and he hideth himself. You see, so we're going to hide ourselves with these scriptures until Yahweh Shai comes. Okay. It says, looking for and hasting onto the coming of the day of Yahweh. All right. Let's go into that word hasting. Okay. Real quick. All right. That word hasting goes into, it says, spiudo. It says to make haste, to desire earnestly. You see, so that's what we should be constantly praying upon, man. Your thoughts should be asking the Lord that this place goes tomorrow. You see, if your spirit is not in that spirit of asking and desiring for this thing to earnestly happen right now, all right, well then you're not in the right spirit, man. The Lord's gonna leave you out here to melt. You're gonna be beaten into powder, man. You see, because the Lord wants you to literally be begging, making supplication that we get out of here tomorrow. We should have. Your mindset should be we should have got out of here yesterday. You see, and by you doing that, that's you watching and what watch the thief will come. You see, because you're constantly being occupied with this word. You're constantly being occupied with calling on Yahweh Shai, man. And when you're a servant to the Lord, he reveals these things onto you, you see? So he'll reveal through the spirit that time that's coming upon us. All right. Let's see. You go into that root word, it goes into poise, right? And it says, it says of disciples listening to their teacher's instructions are said to be at his feet. Ooh, you see? So you constantly watching the men of the Lord, all right, giving you the being that watchtower, okay? That's you listening to the instructions of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you see? Because we're doing the same exact thing. That's why it tells you in Habakkuk, all right, Habakkuk 2:1, it says, I will stand upon my watch and set upon, I will stand on my watch and set upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say. Who's going to say? What Yahweh Shai is going to say through the spirit, you know, through each of us that he's using as earthen vessels to speak to the world. All right. The world of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you see, and to the rest of these other damn nations, because the Lord is speaking to these other nations also. All right. Going to Isaiah, the 34th chapter. Let's grab that real quick. This is Isaiah 34:1. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. You see, so the Lord is again putting all these armies into a mode of war. All right, because the Lord is a man of war. All right, according to Exodus the 15th chapter, the 3rd verse. All right, the name Yahweh. All right, is let me grab it real quick before I butcher it. All right, this is Exodus 15:3. And it says, the Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name. You see? So he's all about war, man. And he's all for it. You see? and here it is that these nations want to have the sauce and the beef with the Lord, man. But they're not going to be able to prevail. Okay? According to, let's just grab that real quick for edification's sake. All right. This is 2nd Ezra. All right. The 13th chapter. All right. And I'll get straight to the point. And it says, I'll take it from 3. And it says, and I beheld, and lo, that man, what man? Yahweh Shai, waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, just like Enoch said in Jude. All right. He said, the Lord coming with 10,000 of his saints. You see? So this is something that Enoch prophesied back in the day, which was spiritual, because Enoch was actually translated into a chariot because he was found righteous. All right. And he got to see no evil in that day, in that time. All right. So he prophesied about it, saying that the Lord coming with 10,000 of his saints with all these different chariots. Okay. Just like you see in that picture right there. All right. In that painting, you see all them chariots behind one chariot. That's what the Lord is going to come and do. You see, it says, and what, so with 10,000, he waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. Yeah, the whole world is going to tremble when they see Yahweh Shai, man. Every eye shall see him, as the scriptures say. All right. Even those that pierced him, you see, showing you reincarnation once again. All right. It says, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. And that's talking about them concentrated laser beams. like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. You see, there's nobody that flies on mountains, man. That's how you know that that mountain is representing an actual chariot. You see, and a beautiful movie to see is Independence Day. All right, when that big chariot covers the whole earth. Okay, it says, but I will have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not, because of the big, how big it was. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Yeah, so they're gonna be scared when they see Yahweh Shai come and crack them clouds, right? But see, the Lord is gonna put the spirit on them to actually fight, even though they were afraid. He's gonna harden up their hearts, just like he does with Pharaoh. Okay, just like he always did with Pharaoh. All right, even the modern day Pharaoh here. You see, so he's gonna harden up their hearts, and they're gonna put pride in their hearts because they were already prideful people to begin with. You see, and the Lord is gonna make them fight in that great pride. Okay, and they're not gonna be able to prevail, man. America's gonna be destroyed in 1 hour. You see, and then the rest of these people gonna be destroyed in right along with it. It says, and after this I beheld in Salaka, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Why? Because the Lord said, I will not meet thee as a man. You see, the Lord was going to come back in angelic power. Okay. It says, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. You see, going into, you know, these laser beams once again coming out of these chariots. And it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, these missiles, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, the laser beams of the chariots, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden and of innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. You see, so going back to Isaiah, okay, the 24th chapter, right? All was to be perceived was the smell of smoke. Okay, oh, Salaki, Isaiah 34th chapter. All right, let me just jump down real quick to 4. And it says, and all the host of the heavens shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. All right, which that represents that mushroom cloud when this place gets hit with all the missiles. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf that falleth from a vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. All right, going into those thermonuclear missiles when they go all the way up and they come all the way down, just like a person will swing a sword and just go down with it. All right, that's how the Lord's going to come with the missiles. Okay, it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. All right, talking about these Edomites, man, and they're going to be in the main place is going to be Babylon the Great, America, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord Yahweh has a sacrifice in Basra. You see, showing you that America, all right, because modern day Basra is a representation of America, showing you that America is going to be an altar. You see, because when he was just saying it's made with fatness of fat with fatness and blood of lambs and goats. You see, that was when the ancient times they will use those things to actually make sacrifices on the altars. You see, so America's going to be that great altar. It says, with the blood of lambs and goats and the fat of kidneys of rams, for the Lord Yahweh will have a sacrifice in Basra and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and the land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. Okay. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch, and it shall not quench night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. All right. And it's not literally meaning forever. It means for a very, very long time. So it basically dies off on itself. Okay. Because the earth abideth forever, you see. So the earth itself can't be destroyed. It's scripture saying, Ecclesiastes 1:4, all right, one generation cometh, another one, how is it? Let me just grab it real quick. This is Ecclesiastes 1:4, all right. And it says, one generation passeth and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever, you see. So this place can never, the earth itself can never be destroyed, all right, because this is where the Lord is going to actually have the new heavens and the new earth. You see, the kingdom is going to be right here where we're at right now. It's just going to be resetted. It's so spiritual that these devils are always speaking about the great reset when the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah has his own great reset. Okay. So let's finish that up. All right. It says, and it shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation, it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. Yeah, now that's going to be forever, for life. You see, America's never going to be inhabited again. All right, it's going to explain to you right here. But the cormorant and the bittern shall also possess it. Okay, when you go into that animal, the cormorant, all right, it's a type of bird. And when you go into it, it says it's native to the land of America, the North America, you see, showing you that it's going to be America through the spirit, man. Okay. It says, and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also, and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion. Yeah, because this place was always confusion. Babylon the Great. Babylon goes back to the word Babel, which means confusion. You see? So because it was always in confusion, the Lord's going to leave it desolate in confusion. Okay. It says, and the stones of emptiness, everything's going to be like a war scene out here, man. Just like when you just seen not too long ago, Israel bomb out Gaza, right? And all those places out there, right? Or whatever place they were smacking. All right. They showed you what it looked like beautiful before. And then you see that it's just a bunch of empty stones everywhere, just laid out. That's what America is going to look like, man. It says, Salakia went back up. It says, they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. The thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons and a court for owls. You see? So there's going to be a habitation of dragons, okay? And a court for many different types of owls. All right. It says the wild beast of the desert shall also meet with the wild beast of the island, and the satchel shall cry to his fellow, and the screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. So these are the different type of animals that's going to be here in America, man. Nothing is going to be able to be inhabited but these animals, you see. And it's going to be a feast for the fowls in the heavens. All right, let's grab that. Revelations 19, I believe it is. Yeah, this is 19 and 17. And it says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the fleshes of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. You see? And that's for a representation. It's not even a representation. That's what the Lord's going to allow all these different birds, these fowls, you know, these vultures, these ravens, these crows. All right. They're going to literally be eating what's left in America, man. You see? Let's go back. to Isaiah 34 and finish that up. All right, so this is 15. It says, there shall the great owl make her nest, and lay and hatch and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. It says, seek ye out the book of the Lord Yahweh. All right, meaning what? Seek the Lord while he may be found, and read, right? Because blessed is he that readeth. Okay, no one of these shall fail, meaning none of the prophecies that are written in these scriptures are going to fail. None shall want her mate, meaning this Bible don't have to go with any other book that's created in the world, man. All right, everything you need to know is right here in this Bible that you need to know. Okay, it says, for my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it has gathered them. Yeah, the mouth of the prophets, okay, has commanded, because we have the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai upon us. All right, and the scriptures say that none of these things shall be returned unto the Lord void. You see, everything that's in these scriptures is going to be fulfilled. All right, it says, and he has cast the lot of them, and his hand has divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation shall they dwell therein. All right, so now let's go back to I had one earlier that I know I didn't finish. Which one was it? Man, which one was it? Lord willing to come back to me. I feel like I didn't finish something. I think it was Isaiah 24 and 20. I know that's one of the precepts, but that's not the one I didn't finish. It's this is Isaiah 24 and 20. It says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Okay, so you know, going into those thermonuclear missiles being hit upon America, it's so hard that the earth is going to reel to and fro like a drunkard. You know, it's going to shake back and forth, man. All right, it's going to be knocked out of his axis almost. Okay, let's grab man, it's bothering me too which one it was. Yeah, Lord willing to come back to me. I know it was something I started reading. Oh, okay, hold on. No, that wasn't it. I already read that. Let's just jump to this then. Jeremiah. All right, because you had that video was mentioning Russia. Okay, so this is Jeremiah 51. Okay, let's take it from the top. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, America, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. You see, that destroying wind is going into the destruction through the thermonuclear missiles. All right, wind represents destruction. It says, I will send on to Babylon fanners, and that shall fan her and shall empty her land in the day, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about, all these different nations. That's what I wanted. The water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Obadiah. All right, because it mentioned Germany earlier. All right, so I had read the 7th verse, but I didn't finish down to, I wanted to get to the 9th verse. Okay, so let's read 7 again. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. Going into these allies of America are going to end up turning against them, turning against America, you see, because they were once at peace with them, but no more are they going to be in peace. It says, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman. You see, Teman goes into Germany. And what was he saying in that video? He was saying that they're now gathering in Germany, you know, they're drafting people for the war, man. See, this is the Lord searching them out. The Lord about to destroy Teman also. Okay. It says, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. You see, the Lord is going to bring great slaughter upon these people, man. Matter of fact, let's grab this, Isaiah 14. Okay, and I'll jump back to Jeremiah 51 after that. This is Isaiah 14, and let's take it from 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and the son and the nephew, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. I will make it a possession for the bittern, going back to what we read in Isaiah the 34th chapter, and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see, going into those thermonuclear missiles. Okay, let's grab this as I'm next to Isaiah 13. All right, this is 13 and let's grab it from, I guess I'll grab it from 9. Yeah, let's grab it from 9. It says, behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Why? Because of all them, the nuclear missiles creating that dust, that gloominess all over the world. You see, it says, I will make more, Salak, I skipped one, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. See, so the Lord's going to make a man of the Lord very important in those days, man. That's going to be you women's protection in those days, all right? The men of the Lord. Because they, the men of the Lord should be a hiding place from the wind, as the scriptures tell you in Isaiah the 32nd chapter. You see, and that wind is a representation of the destruction of these missiles. So the Lord is going to, you can only be saved if you're a woman through a man of the Lord. Okay, in those days, it says, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one to his own land. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined onto them shall fall by the sword. All right, and this is kind of going into Jacob's trouble. Okay, because a lot of these women, in that time, all right, these women are going to go into these UN troops. Okay, they're gonna pretty much go into searching out the land, the houses, and whoever's still alive is gonna be thrust through, being taken out by the sword. Okay, the women are gonna be ravished, the kids, the children, all right, gonna be dashed into pieces, as the scriptures say right here. It says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined onto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their house shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Okay. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes going into Gog and Magog. All right. Going into Russia, that bear. Okay. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows, okay, going into those missiles, shall also dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Okay, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, let's go real quick to 2nd Ezra. And I still got 51 in Jeremiah, and I'm pretty much ended. This is 2nd Ezra 16, and I'll get straight to the point. All right. It says 13. 12, it says, now let me take it from 11. The Lord Yahweh Shai shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with the waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord Yahweh Shai, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Okay, and that's talking about those missile silos shooting the missiles from one end of the earth to another, because there's no such thing as an arrow that could be shot from one end of the earth to the other. You see, those arrows are a representation of those missiles. Okay, it says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. Okay, they're gonna go up and then they're gonna come right back down. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Okay, let's go to Jeremiah 51. Lord willing, I'll close it out right there. All right, this is Jeremiah 51, and take it back to 3. It says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. You see, spare not her young men. You see, going to those bridegrooms that are going to be dying off in the wars, man. You see, a lot of these people don't understand, man. They're going to be yanked out of their houses just to go to World War III for this devil. Okay, because you wanted to put your trust in America, you wanted to trust in Egypt, right? So they're gonna trust you enough to jump into their war, all right, and go out there and kill yourself for this place, man. It says, thus the slain shall fall into the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel has not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Through their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. And it literally doesn't mean to leave America, man, because you can't. It don't matter where you flee to. All right, the Lord going to destroy this place, man, all the way around the world. Okay, certain places are going to get hit harder than others. All right, but nonetheless, everything's going to be destroyed here and reset it. What it means to flee out of the Babylon means mentally. Okay, to have the renewing of your mind. All right, you have to flee out of the ways of Babylon and turn back to the Lord. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me see. This is Revelation 17. 18, Salakia. And 2. And it says, and he cried mightily with a strong, actually, I'll take it for 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory, Yahweh Shai. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. You see, so meaning come out of the ways of Babylon the Great, all right, and turn back to the Lord. Okay, it says, and that ye receive not her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. And the cup which she has filled to her double. Okay, how much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit as a queen and am no widow, and she see no sorrow, and shall see no sorrow. Salakia. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh Shai, who judgeth her. Okay. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Yeah, because it's going to be broadcasted, man. All right, this place is, you're going to be able to see that this place got hit so hard. Okay, it says it says, standing off afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. You see, and these people gonna lament for it because that was their cash cow. That was that was how they were making their money. You see, but then eventually everything else will be destroyed. All right. So let's go back to Jeremiah 51, and I'll close it out. Do that. All right. So this is where was I? 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. See, the same thing's being reiterated, all right, in Jeremiah 51 that we just read in Revelations the 18th. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And see, and eventually they'll be mad to the point where the beast shall hate the whore. All right. And all these allies and all these nations are going to turn against America. They're pretty much going to say it's either us or Babylon, man. All right. And they're going to all choose to destroy Babylon. Okay. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain? If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Yeah, you see, the Lord would have healed this place if they would just do righteously. But see, the Lord ain't going to heal them because they're going to continue in their wickedness. That's why I said that their sins have reached onto the heavens, man. There was basically no hope for Babylon because they were always going to continue in those wicked ways. You see, it says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. And that's why the Lord said, return unto her double, fill up her cup, you see. So they have to drink of the same cup, basically, that we had to drink out of. All right. But they're going to drink out of it with thermonuclear missiles. Okay. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth on to heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord Yahweh has brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord, our power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, going into Russia. You see, and that's what Ezekiel the 38th chapter is about. Okay, Russia being a guard onto all these other nations, and Russia getting an evil thought and coming up to the city of the unwalled villages, which is America. All right, meaning that the unwalled villages, this place has no protection. You see, because back in the ancient world, when you would go to cities, all right, they were actually surrounded by big walls. In order for you to get into the city, you have to go through one entrance. You see, but America, you could fucking enter from anywhere. They don't have big walls surrounding it. Okay, and literally, it's gonna have no actual military protection, because why? America's everywhere where they don't need to be. You see, it says, what was I? Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon. All right, that instrument, which is what? That sword, man, those missiles, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Okay, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for the Lord Yahweh has both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. All right. And eventually, all right, it's going to be what? It's going to be the men of the Lord being the watchmen, all right, you know, telling you what's going to happen. And eventually it's going to happen right in front of our faces, man. All right. Because the Lord is not one to take back. Let me, as a matter of fact, let me finish. He's not one to take back his words. 2 Peter 3, and that was the one I had to finish up. All right. This is 11. It's saying, it says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in the holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasten unto the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heats. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. You see, that's why you have to be in the spirit of praying that this place goes tomorrow, man, because we seek new heavens and a new earth. You see, we want Yahweh Shah to come back so we could be in righteousness once and for all. You see, and Yahweh Shah could be in complete rulership, because when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But right now we're mourning because of who rules the world. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much the point. All right. Something popping in my head telling me it's something else, but the point has been made. All right, let me just play one more time that video. All right, so you could get the drift of why I went in through it if you missed it in the beginning. All right, and I'll just cut it off from there. This is one second, pulling it up. Took too long and it went back into its collections.
A lot developing in the last 24 hours regarding concerns of World War III, and we're hearing an emergency draft has been initiated. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. I'm going to be covering all the details of what has been going on here. World War III fears spark emergency conscription for all 18-year-olds in Germany. Here's another one coming out. Report for duty. Every 18-year-old man called up for military tests and emergency conscription measure announced in Germany amid World War III fears. It comes as major European players also ramp up conscription efforts, and everybody is asking the question, is there going to be a draft in the United States? If World War III erupts, these are the first U.S. citizens who would get drafted and go to battle. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think that we're going to need a draft here in the United States? We're hearing that this is being initiated right now in an emergency.
And what's crazy is, real quick,
World War III coming,
real quick, and there was a leakage of this devil's, because we all been hearing about what's going on with DT being with the files. Let's just say that the PDF files. All right, he basically you know, is being exposed of what he was doing behind closed doors, and somebody caught which this lady actually made sense of what she was saying, that because it could be AI, because everything is fucking AI nowadays, but it only makes sense that what she said, you know, after it was leaked, the next day there was a conference with him and his voice sounded hoarse. And usually when your voice sounds hoarse, it's because you've been yelling all day. You know, you've been screaming. All right, listen to what she says and listen to what he says.
Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let them get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down with me.
He said, start a fucking war. If I go down, you're all going to go down with me. So the fact that he's already mad, all right, he probably gonna, that's another reason why this devil, you know, trying to powerhouse motherfuckers basically left and right over here. You know, he going out there to Venezuela with, you know, with rage in him. You know, he's just pretty much trying to blow shit up now because of what's being leaked out. You see? So, you know, very well that it's going to send us into, you know, war at the end of the day. But listen to what she says.
So normally I would err on the side of caution and I would say something like that is probably AI generated. With some factors at play, his voice was very, very hoarse yesterday. And if he spent the majority of the weekend on the phone yelling at people like that recording shows, and then he publicly pulled his support from Marjorie Taylor Greene this weekend, I'm gonna have to say that that phone conversation is very real.
Plain and simple. So going back to that video, all right.
So a lot developing in the last 24 hours for the effort to keep up with potential World War III coming is what we're hearing. And take a look at this. Putin's Russia is preparing for a big war soon. Ukraine warns. And what they're saying is, let me know your thoughts on this. They are saying that they believe that Putin is ready to escalate to a major war, but he is waiting essentially for Donald Trump to get out of office, and that in the year 2029 or the year 2030, there is going to be a major war, and that our adversary...
And I'm going to tell y'all right now, stop thinking that we have all this time to 2029, 2030. We ain't got that much time, man. That ain't nothing but Satan, you know, spiritual counter Satan, you know, saying things like that to make us feel like we got time left. All right, time is literally ticking, all right? I'm gonna say it like this: these clocks got legs on them right now. The time is running out, literally. You know, so we're at the last stretch, you know, of the ending of these quarters, man. All right, there's no there ain't no 2030. No way we got to be here another fucking 4 years, you know, 5 years. Nah, I can't see it happening. Everything's just moving so quick. All right. But I tell you what, Putin is exposing a lot of America right now. So it can only mean one thing, man: war.
Or go all out. Do you think that's a possibility? Let me know your thoughts. But we'd even heard this morning coming out from the FBI for quite some time with China and Taiwan. China, they said, has prepared to attack Taiwan by the year 2027, which now is only about 1 year away. And they're saying, but the Trump effect might hold them off. Let's take a look at some more headlines here. As you can see, in addition to those warnings coming out, the Putin ally, he has issued just in the last 24 hours a nuclear warning to the United States. Yet again, we're getting all these nuclear warnings coming out from Russia. They're posturing against the United States. They say Russia will respond if the United States begins nuclear testing. In addition to that, speaking of China, we are hearing in the last 24 hours, China threatens Japan with a military attack as World War III fears spiral out of control. Left and right, we are hearing that there are threats and controversy around the world. World on the brink after China threatens to attack Japan as World War III fears explode. Some more tensions are rising. And take a look at this. It's being confirmed. China's Area 51 satellite images spark World War III fears as China is brewing, and it is not synced out. And also take a look. Russia vows to fully act as the U.S. sends warships to Venezuela, sparking new World War III fears. So many players getting involved here left and right. We are hearing that things are escalating significantly. Now, let me know your thoughts. Are we going to be entering into World War III here very soon? So a lot developing in the last 24 hours regarding concerns of World War III, and we're hearing an emergency draft has been initiated. Take a look at the latest headlines. We're going to be covering all the details.
Man, World War III is imminent at the end of the day, man. All right, there's no question about it. You know, the answer's already there. It's written in these scriptures, you know. So, Lord willing, you will edify. So, with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call the Lord and La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, the Hakim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith and doing as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. Your sisters continue to learn in silence and watching the men of the Lord bring out this word through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.